Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. All right, and welcome back to the show. And we talk a lot about community and getting involved with our community and doing things to help people and to help those around us, our neighbors, and making sure that we all can live a better life. And as some people who know me well, that I get at times very political, and I even try to help out our local politicians. Some of it being things like sponsoring all candidate meetings and debates between candidates, which is always a lot of fun. If you look through some of our broadcasts, you'll probably find one from the recent Surrey, BC mayor's debate from, I guess it's from October now. Wow. Okay. And I helped out another friend with some photography and video. Get elected. It's things that when people have a message and they just want to help out the community, and this is the way that they are deciding to help out the community is by being an elected official, and what they stand for really does help the community. Why not help them out, right? So, with all that being said, I had the opportunity to go back to another friend who was elected mayor of Langley, BC, and Vandenbroek asked me to. We just figured out a time we would meet, and I asked her a few questions about how she wanted to improve the Langley City and assist in improving Langley Township. And the result was like a 22-minute interview, because that's really all the time she had, because she's a very busy lady, especially after she got elected mayor. She realized how much busier she was going to be. And in the interview is some ideas of how she wants to actually help people, help homelessness, help transit, and by effect helping people with disabilities in her community, so that everybody can live better, everybody can have what they want from out of the community. Well, for the most part, you can't have everything. You can't satisfy everybody all the time, but you can always give them some aspect that they really will enjoy that keeps them living in the community in a great way, living an extraordinary life. And that's what Mayor Val wants to do. So, with that being said, I'm going to play the interview right now and listen along, and maybe you might find some ideas for your own community also.
After them and said, can we turn that money over for SkyTrain? Mm-hmm. So in theory they said yes, but we still have to do the paperwork. So that's where this business plan comes in, and it's being reviewed right now. And it'll go back to the federal and provincial government, waiting for their signatures pretty much to say, yes, the funding will be switched over. So it's the technicalities that we're doing right now. So our staff is working with city, or township, and City of Surrey staff, and they're working on a plan to where the SkyTrain's going to go, where the stops are going to be. So we don't even know that yet. Mm-hmm. It was going to take $3.6 billion to build the SkyTrain all the way from Surrey to Langley. Those were the figures. We're still short $1.3 billion, which is where the Cure the Congestion campaign comes in, where we've been pushing all federal parties to commit to consistent, reliable funding for TransLink. A group of us went to Ottawa to talk to the politicians to see where they stood on it and if they would include it in their political platforms for the upcoming federal election. Most of them committed to it. We're still waiting for a few parties to say they will, commit to yearly funding. And that's province or Canada-wide. That's not just for transit here. And one of the things we were hearing in Ottawa a lot from different parties was, you guys have great plans out in Vancouver, but you never come here to ask for money. It's like, what? So, we need to get the money. We're $1.3 billion short. We're still part of the 10-year plan. That's never changed. So if we can get the commitment from the parties, we can borrow the money knowing that the money is going to come in and we'll be able to pay it back. Because if we can do the SkyTrain in one shot, it'll save us money in the long run instead of doing it in two chunks. Well, right? Yeah. So the more time it takes, the more the cost is going to increase on it.
Right.
So we want to get it done all in one shot within 5 to 7 years instead of 7 to 10 years. So we're just shortening the time on it is what it comes down to. Because LRT would have been done in 10 years type thing. So we're just trying to make it all at once, one thing. And I know Doug, all our staff is working really hard on it. So
yeah. Okay. So SkyTrain's going to be...
Well, it's reliable, it doesn't impede traffic, it's safer in that regard. We were warned by other major cities not to do it. The other thing is, if you're trying to get people out of cars, you want to make it as easy as possible for them. That's the reality of it. People want to be able to park somewhere, hop on a train, and get downtown.
Right.
If you did the LRT, you'd have to get off at Surrey, switch over to SkyTrain. It's a completely different system. So it's logical.
Well, you said that other major cities warned you about the using SkyTrain as a solution.
No, LRT.
Oh, using LRT.
LRT.
Okay, I want to make sure I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because when I lived in Calgary, of course, it's basically an LRT system because it's not elevated.
But you even
it stops traffic,
and you talk to them now, and they say they wish they had done a different system.
Because I also lived in 2 other really big cities. Because, of course, Surrey is not. It's not New York City or Philadelphia.
Nope.
Where I lived there, and the elevated lines were like
gold.
Rather use that than
right?
Than the even the subways.
The subways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the way we're looking at it, and the other thing we're looking at TransLink as well is we want to make all the buses electric. That's going to be the next step. So I'm vice chair of the 30-year Transportation Strategy Planning Committee Task Force for TransLink. And, that's what we're looking at is the future opportunities of what's out there. The gondolas up to Burnaby Mountain, following European styles, Germany, Latvia, all those kind of countries, they all use a gondola system in certain areas. There's no reason why we can't.
Yeah.
So thinking outside the box, and to me, the entire SkyTrain system, there should be a spine through every community through Metro Vancouver. Every community has paid into it through their taxes. Everybody has a right to it. And I think, this is the first time we've ever done any sort of long-term planning, like 40, 50 years out for anything, like transportation, housing, anything like that. Because political parties have always been, I'm going to do what's good right now because I might be out in 3 years. So I'm going to get everything done.
Right, short term.
Which is great. I mean, I get that. But at the same time, there should be some sort of planning going on to say, this is the direction we want to go in. This is what we need to do. Basic stuff, right? And so that's what we're exploring with that. And to me, all our universities or hospitals or airports, ferries, everything should be connected. You should be able to hop on the SkyTrain and go from the ferry terminal to the airport, or from the Abbotsford Airport into Vancouver, because it's an international airport. It makes sense.
Other metropolises have done
right?
it.
So those are the kind of things we're trying to plan for, so that the public knows that we're looking into the future, and the government knows that we're looking into the future, and we're serious about it, and to give us the funding for it.
Yeah. So if we look at things from the point of the GVRD, Greater Vancouver
Regional District,
yeah. Then the area becomes a metropolis. It isn't just a bunch of small towns.
No, and you know what the good thing is? So within Metro / and or TransLink, Lower Mainland, there's 23 municipalities. So 21, and then the electoral, and then Aboriginal. Out of those 23, 17 of us are new mayors. And we just want to get things done.
Well, was it the time for the change?
Absolutely. It was. And people wanted it, obviously. And you know what? We've still got a few, mayors that have been around a couple of terms, which is fantastic because you still get the history, but they're working with us because they realize as well, people want to change.
Yeah.
So, I know when we first went to the first couple TransLink meetings, and the media was trying to make a big thing out of it, and it's like, no, actually, we all actually get along. We get that we all need to work together as a region. That's why we're here on this board, to be a regional board, not just me. We have to think about long term how it benefits someone who works in Port Coquitlam but lives in Langley. Because everybody crosses over all the time. There's no lines to people, right? So it's been very productive. We started off basically all of us going in and saying, you know what, status quo is not okay. What we've been doing for years is not okay. This budget isn't okay. And we got staff to rip everything apart. And we're going forward from there.
So what about accessibility?
So good question. TransLink is getting more handy dart buses. Those are also going to be going electric as well in the long term. They're doing some testing with that as well. I actually just attended a conference in Portland, Healthy Livable Cities Conference. So there was different things kind of going on, and it was mostly a lot of stuff about the environment and anything. Anyway, I went to a session on visible disabilities and non-visible disabilities and having the access and everything. So we're currently redoing our OCP, our official community plan, and we're reviewing our parking, we're reviewing our bylaws, because we want to be ahead of the game with our Nexus plan before the SkyTrain comes in. So a lot of communities waited till afterwards. Well, we know it's coming. So we're trying to get prepared and really look at the city, what's working, what's not working. So we've been trying to make the sidewalks more pedestrian friendly, wider, bigger. better entrances. I actually just did a luncheon before I had a meeting with you here, talking to Rotary, and I was telling one of the gals, she works for Inclusions, and I actually did, I just did a meeting yesterday with a group from Inclusions, and we talked about that. And it's one of the things we're incorporating because we want to build safe communities. We want to follow safe growth. And that's one of my big things here, which we started about 4 years ago when I was on council. We were very adamant about making things accessible for everyone. And I know the Downtown Business Association did a review about 10 years ago or so ago on wheelchair accessibility within the downtown, and it wasn't very good. And still nothing's been done about that.
One of the, because I do work with an activist group that talks about wheelchair accessibility, and I actually witnessed this with somebody who was in a motorized wheelchair. That if there was even as much as a quarter to a half-inch lip, instead of it being completely flushed, it would catch the chair. And it was something that I don't think when they were doing the accessibility sidewalks in Vancouver, I don't think we knew at the time.
No.
So So now it's known.
And those are a lot of things we're looking at to make the community accessible for everyone in the community, whether you have a visible or a non-visible disability. So one of the things I discovered, which I didn't know, the reason why the cross signals, the buttons are yellow, is because yellow is the last color you see before you go blind. I didn't know that. Yeah. So those are little things you learn along the way, like at conferences and stuff like that. So anyway, I just met a gal at Rotary, and she does all the reviews and stuff like that for cities and stuff. So I'm actually going to have a meeting with her and set her up to see what we can do in the city and have another review done to make sure that when we start planning the next phase and start doing like redoing Fraser Highway and redoing, because not Great Crescent. Well, Great Crescent's going to be getting redone next year. Michaud Crescent is coming up next and all that. So we want to make sure that everything's set up for accessibility for everyone. Yeah. So it's in our plan.
So
we're very adamant that we're going to.
Of course, when you get all of the transit done and accessibility done, it should increase commerce in the area.
Absolutely.
So is there going to be some sort of a plan? Because one of the other issues is people with disabilities who want to actually work also.
Yeah. So what we're doing is, what I did immediately when I got elected, I developed an economic development task force. So they have been set up. So they're going out and talking to current businesses, and they're also setting up plans to go out and talk to future potential businesses to come to the city. So we're doing everything we can to bring whatever business we can in here. Right now, we've got, I think it's a 1% vacancy in our downtown. So our downtown is very well used. It needs a redo, though. That's the reality of it. So with redoing the SkyTrain coming in and everything, we want to build, like I said, we want to build safe growth. So we want businesses on the bottom and residentials as you go up. So that way everything's within walking distance. Everything has to be within 10 minutes for walking.
Okay.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
So that's the safe growth concept, right? And I am huge on that. We should have, an example is that Surrey's done a really good job with those areas, those kind of safe growth areas. Like you look at Morgan Crossing, tons of townhomes going in there, family-orientated housing, single family housing as well, and a little bit of a mixture in there too, and seniors living and all that kind of stuff. And you can walk across the street and get all your groceries. There's a Superstore, Canadian Tire, Walmart, there's restaurants, there's London Drugs, there's banks. Everything should be within that 5 to 10 minute walking, plain and simple. So that's what we want to do within this downtown, is when you get off the SkyTrain, or let's say this is the center point, and we're very lucky in the sense we're only 4x4 square miles, or 10 by 10 kilometers, 11 by 11, whatever you want to call it, is that you can walk everywhere within 10. So we're looking at trying to redo kind of this core area with the commercial and then the residential on top, and have a multi-mixed use, and have affordable housing, and all of that comes into play. Actually, I had a meeting with a developer this morning, and we were talking about that, and he's built a couple places here in Langley, and that's what he was saying. At least I know if I build in the city, I know you guys want us to be creative. I know you want something new. I mean, you look at the Legacy, right? Like, absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. But we don't have anything else like that. Like, we got some complaints that people are like, oh, only the rich can buy there. Well, it's not necessarily rich people. It might be people that have worked their entire lives, and yeah, they've got a good egg nest set up, but we don't have anything else like that. But if you move those people out of other housing and they go into that frees up housing. So no matter what kind of housing you build, it's good housing, because you're moving people, right? Because people step up when they usually move or buy something else, right? So you need to give them something to step up into, because if you don't, then they're just going to keep the other housing, right? And then we're still facing the homelessness issue. So if we can just keep people moving, right?
So, I mean, I know that Langley's not the downtown east side.
Yeah.
But how bad of a homeless problem do you guys have here?
We've got a homeless problem. I think the count, we were at a little over 200, and that's for both Langleys together, because they do the count together. It goes in ebbs and flows, and the hard part is it's hard to classify homelessness, because you have so many different variations of it. Mm-hmm. You've got people that are couch surfing, that's classified as homelessness. You got teens that have been kicked out by their parents. You've got people with serious mental health or drug addiction problems that leads them to prostitution or trafficking or whatever else. And then you have other people that, plain and simple, you're never going to house them. They don't want to be housed. Mm-hmm. So it's hard, because homelessness is such a huge umbrella. And our problem in BC is our weather is good 24/7. So you're not going to freeze on the street at minus 30 like the rest of Canada during the winter.
Yes.
So, like, bank robberies, we're the bank robbery capital of Canada, because our weather's so good. Because if you drive up to a bank in the wintertime, you don't have to worry about getting stuck in the snow. You're going to get rained on, but you're not going to get stuck in the snow, right? So it's opportunities. And we're finding homeless people are coming from all over Canada to live on our streets here in BC, because they can all year round. So those are issues that we're just going to have to keep dealing with. We keep working with the federal government and the provincial government. And to me, we should be addressing it medically. We should be all working together and coming up with solutions. I'm not saying that. But a lot of it is medical issues, because you're dealing with serious mental health issues and, like I said, drug and alcohol. And to me, those are things that need to be addressed by professionals that know how to handle those kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've been working with the provincial government a lot. This new, John Horgan's new government implemented a new kind of social housing, social ministry. It's been a couple years now, but they've finally started doing stuff, and it's making a difference. We've now got Selena Robinson going around trying to build places, and stuff that should have been happening about 10 years ago under Christy Clark's government is now finally starting to happen. So it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of resources. It's going to take a lot of collaboration between all three levels of government, but we're working on it. It's a serious issue. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, overall, what do you... I see the election time comes up in another 3 years, right? So what do you think Langley's going to like when you come up for re-election? You
want to see the city here healthier and more vibrant than it is now. And it already is healthy and vibrant. Mm-hmm. I want to see a mixture of people. I want to see more events. I want to see the SkyTrain. I want to be progressive. My campaign theme was let's move forward, and that's what we need to do. yeah, I just want to see a healthy, happy community is what I really want to see. You know, kids playing in the parks that we've redone, and people giving vegetables to their neighbors because they grew it in our community gardens. And you know, kids, we're going to put in next year. We're going to build a community garden in Douglas Park. Cool. And what I'd love to see is the seniors teaching the younger kids of Douglas Park, or some of our, you know, newly arrived immigrants from Syria, and talking in the park and growing and eating, you know, carrots or whatever that they pulled out of the garden. You know, to me, that's a community. People talking and people being social and enjoying life, right? And enjoying each other. So that's my vision.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
so
it's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having me over.
It's a pleasure talking to you. I've been talking about this all day, actually. Here, so it's one of those things that I'm very passionate about, and I'm so happy that I was elected mayor. It really is a job for me. I love it. I love meeting new people. I love learning. You know, it's just a great opportunity. Just a great opportunity to make a difference. Yeah. And I feel like I'm doing that. And I felt like I did that the last 4 years on council. And, you know, it was a good national progression for me, too, because I went from being a staff member, you know, at the CPO for 8 years, and then council for 4, and then now I'm mayor. So I've worked my way up through the city. And, you know, and I think that's an advantage, because you really get to know who your staff are, what they can do, what their capabilities are, and also what they're thinking, because they've got plans too, and they're the ones out there working. And those are the kind of people you should be listening to and taking their ideas as well, because they're out there every day talking to people, right? And they're the cornerstone of our community. Yeah. They see it every day. Yeah. They're out in trucks, they're out working, they're out driving around all the time. They see everything that's going on, and they're a valuable resource. And we need to listen to them a little bit more, I think. A lot of times it's just easy to get in that rut of working every day and, you know, doing your own thing and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, good communication is required. So we're working on it.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Mayor Valerie Vandenbroek of Langley, BC, Langley City. And you heard there a lot of things that she just wants to do just to make the community better. Some of the outside conversations that we had, you know, extended on. There's some really great things that are going to happen in Langley City around homelessness and transit and disabilities, that she really wants to take Langley City into a direction that is going to build for the future. She's not just building just to get reelected again. She's building so that the city becomes a prominent force in our community, the greater Vancouver district. And I look forward to seeing what it is that she's going to do to really make things wonderful to live around here. So that's what we have for today. And I know it's not as long as our usual interview, because hey, we just didn't have the time to spend with her. We didn't have that 1 hour that we usually have, because her schedule is very busy, because she's trying to take care of our community. So thank you for joining us today, and we will talk to you later on. Bye for now. This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.